Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay? We're good? I'm going to take that as a yes. I'm going to say good morning, and I will echo what you just heard as far as, nothing goes as planned when you really want it to, and then things happen when it doesn't really matter, right? So I also am at the beach. I am actually on vacation, actually also at the beach, being that this was changed date-wise a couple times. I was on vacation, and so I'm here with you all. So you must know that I really appreciate you all and the work that you do, and that's why I'm here. So again, I just want to say thank you for having me. I want to say welcome. I'm glad you're all here. We're going to get through a little bit of material, and then I will kind of wait at the end for some Q&A. So I'll kind of plow through some of this to give you a chance to ask or say what you want to say. With that, I'm going to share. You can see my presentation. Is that true? Good. So here's the first question for you. And this is something I want you to think about as we begin this today. I want you to think about when you were a very small child. And for some of us, it was a lot longer ago than others, and I'm pointing my finger at myself. I want you to go back to when you were a really small child, and I want you to think about learning how to walk. And I'm sure most of us, probably all of us, don't remember learning how to walk because it was when obviously it was a long time ago, and we don't have those memories. But think about what that looked like. I'm sure you've all seen someone learn how to walk. It's a few steps and then a stumble and then a fall down and then a get up and over, and that goes on until we master it. Now I want you to think about that for a second, because you don't remember it, but you've been doing it since before you can recall. When I was thinking about this one day, I realized that there's one really important thing that I think that tells us. Our ability to fall down and get back up is innate. We're born with that. We've been doing it since before we remember. We've fallen down, we've gotten up, and we've moved on. As we get older, it's a little harder to get back up, isn't it? I mean, I know it is for me. Sometimes we take a pillow and a cozy blanket and we lay it down and we say, hey, I'm good here, right? And some of us might know exactly what that feels like right now. So I want you to consider some of these ideas as we move forward today. And I want you to think about some of the things that we take for granted. Some of the things that we think, we've done and we've lived, and we don't go back and really understand them. When I was young, my goals and dreams were really simple. I had desires, very simple desires, and they looked like this. If you can see the picture, it's an ice cream cone. And I like to say some things have not changed at all, except the cone got bigger. But I go back to this picture of me when I was a small child, and I remember, and I think about the little joys, and I think about the things that bring us light and happiness. And my goal today is to give you some of those reminders that sometimes it's just about what flavor of ice cream we're going to eat, and that's enough. Some days are like that. So I'm going to talk to you today about 5 words, and there are 5 C words, and I think they lay the foundation for everything else that we do. First C is the word character. And I'm sure you've all heard the definition, character is who you are when no one's watching. I like to add something to that. I like to say character is who you are and what you do when no one's watching and when everyone's watching, because they can be 2 different things. I think character for me has been best defined by 2 7-year-olds I met on my journey so far, and I'm going to share their story really quick. The first one came from the University of Tennessee, and every year I speak, I was doing this for probably 10 years. I would speak at the Christmas camp at the University of Tennessee for softball. And there were 450 kids that would come through this camp, 6 on Saturday, 6 on Sunday, groups. We grouped them up into ages, so 12 groups, 6 on Saturday, 6 on Sunday through my session, where I would talk about the mental game of softball for an hour each, 12 times. Now, you know what I'm talking about. And by the end of the second day, I was like, just point me to the airport and get me home, right? So the running joke was that at the end of the second day, I had the 7-year-olds, the youngest ones in the group, the ones, jumping off the walls, ready to go home at the end of the second day. So the end of the second day comes. This is like second or third year I was doing this. And these little kids come in and sit down, really tiny, some of them really tiny, and completely quiet. And I thought, I have no idea what just happened to you in the last room, but we're going with it because this is great. So I asked and I said, what's his character mean? And the little girl in the front row, second seat, she was the shortest girl in the whole room. She was tiny. Her feet dangled off the chair. She raised her hand really slowly. Her eyes got big. And I said, go ahead, tell us, what is it? And she looked up at me and she, with this big eyes and sweet, soft, gentle little voice, and she said, when you see a piece of trash, you pick it up. I said, yes, that's it, right? That's it. Why? Because it's just that simple. It's about doing the right things. It's about being the right person, even if and especially when it's not your trash. She was 7. She got it. Fast forward about 6 months later, I'm at my local YMCA after school Believe and Achieve program. And I remember asking the same question to a group of 7-year-olds. What's his character mean? And the little girl in front of me, when kids know something, ooh, like right in your face. I was like, okay, I see you. How can I not? Go ahead. What is it? And she said, well, that's easy. It's a role in a movie. And I said, yes, it is. And now I'm, trying to think on my feet quickly, like, okay, that's great, but that's not what I was looking for. So how am I going to get this to go in the direction I want it to go, right? So I said, well, what if I said good character? What does that mean? And the little girl to my right in the little pink coat was so very sure of herself. She raised her hand. She's like, I got this. I said, okay, go ahead, tell us. She said, well, obviously then it's the Little Mermaid. So we went there. There's no turning this train around, right? I'm in deep. I can't go back and be like, you're both wrong. So I held my breath, as you do when you ask a 7-year-old anything, which I'm sure you know. And I said, okay, why? And she said, because she's kind and she's nice to others. And I thought, mission accomplished, right? Who cares how we get there? We got there. I recognized something that day. From those 2 experiences, I realized that it really wasn't so much what they said. It wasn't the definitions they gave me. It was my ability to remember that we can learn from anyone. There's an old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher shall appear. And I had to be smart enough to know that those 2 little 7-year-olds were my teachers and I was the student. We can learn from anyone, regardless of background, of age, of race. I'm going to talk real quick about...
Yes, we're good.
Okay.
We're good, Jen.
Okay. I think there's a delay. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about Kaizen. And the Kaizen philosophy is about consistent improvement. It's about doing one extra little thing today than I did yesterday. It's doing one more thing tomorrow than I did today. Okay, so it's just little incremental improvements. When I was coaching college softball, I decided that it would be a fantastic idea to implement what I called Kaizen push-ups. Now I'm going to explain what those are. This is how this went. The end of the first practice, I said, ladies, what I'd like to have you do is you're going to circle up at the end of practice and you're going to give me one push-up. Oh, and you're going to count them out. And they're like, what? Coach, one? What are you talking about? Okay, fine, we'll do it, right? So 1, thank you, ladies. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. So they leave, they come back the next day. At the end of practice, I said, okay, now today, ladies, I'm going to have you do 2 push-ups and count them out. And they're like, this is crazy. 1, 2. Okay. We good, coach? I said, yeah, get out of here. I'll see you tomorrow. So this went on and on and on, right? And every single day they did one more. Fast forward now to the conference tournament. And let me tell you what I told them on day 1, just so that you understand this. I told them, I said, if at any time this gets too difficult, I want you to go ahead and drop to your knees and finish that way, because these were standard push-ups, right? And if at any time that gets too hard, just drop out completely and cheer on your teammates, right? That was pretty nice of me, don't you think? I gave them an out, okay? So fast forward now to the conference tournament. Oh, and by the way, no one ever took that. Never. I watched. No one took the out, just so you know. So fast forward to the conference tournament, we finish. I'm collecting my stuff out of the dugout, and I turn around, and there they are, circled up in the right field corner doing push-ups. And I realized in that moment they got it. This wasn't just something they did. It wasn't just a thing to do. It became a part of who they were. It became a pride thing for them, actually. And they became known as the team that got better every day. We beat teams that on paper we had no business beating. The interesting thing to me was that on that day, those girls did 67 push-ups. Now, I'm going to tell you this. If I were to tell you right now, we're going to pause this, we're going to go ahead and you're just going to pick a spot in your house, outside, wherever you are, and you're going to do 67 push-ups. How many of you right now would be like, yeah, no, we are not doing any of that, right? Here's what we do. And this is what I want you to recognize now. We quickly, I mean, think about it. How fast are we to say, I can't do something? When the answer really is, I don't know because I haven't done it yet. We don't know how far we can go, and that's the truth. There's this book I read a long time ago called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. John C. Maxwell. He wrote about law number 1 is called the law of the lid. The law of the lid states you will never grow higher than your lid. Your lid might be your friends, your family, your boss, your coworkers. 95% of the time, the lid is you. Take off the lid. Possibilities are endless. Let's talk about communication. This is one of the most important things we do every day, right? This is how we connect with each other. And I think you'd agree with this statement. We are the most technologically connected society ever, sometimes, right? When they work. But we also stand on the edge of being the most disconnected at the same time. And I think you'd agree with me on that. Most people do. So how do we bridge that disconnect? How do we move from where we are today to form more connection and community? How do we do that? So one of the things that I have found that is probably one of the most important things to move forward on bridging disconnect is understanding what I call belief windows. Belief windows are the things we look through every day, right? It's how we see the world. It's our view. It's, everything about what makes us us. It's our background. It's our experiences. It's where we grew up. It's all of it. Every single thing has led you to today, right now, right here with us. And so what comes from that is that we have to recognize that every single one of us looks through different lenses to see the world. I usually do this exercise, and I'm just going to kind of tell you what this looks like, since we can't all kind of shout anything out right here. But the question always is, if I say 2 words, I want you to tell me the first thing. And actually, let's try it. Let's see if we can catch up here, if we're on the right page. Go ahead and type in your chat your answer when I say this. And the first thing that comes to your mind, don't look at what anybody else is saying, okay? When I say 2 words, I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. Here we go. Brussels sprouts. I'm going to wait, and I'm going to see what you say in the chat. First thing that comes up when I say Brussels sprouts, what is it? Okay. Okay. All right. Do you see them rolling in? Do you see the answers? No way. Gross. Yummy.
They're all saying yuck. Some yummies, mostly gross.
I see them. I see yum. Healthy. Okay. Do you see the one that says vegetables? Healthy. Veggies. So
lots of ills.
So here's what I'm going to share with you. This is belief windows in action right here. Do you see them? You see all the different things? So when we receive information, when we communicate with somebody and we receive information, we do it and we categorize these things in 3 categories, okay? We put the information into one of 3 funnels, all right? First funnel, I said Brussels sprouts. I saw yummy, delicious, love them. Okay, so that's the positive funnel, right? You had a good experience with Brussels sprouts. I said Brussels sprouts. I saw ew, gross, yuck, ew, don't like them, nope, nasty. Okay, that's the negative funnel, right? That's easy. But I saw a couple when I said Brussels sprouts. I saw vegetables. I saw, sometimes I see the word green. I see healthy. That's fact unemotional. I don't care. Okay, so if you're one of those people, Brussels sprouts has no real pull on you. It's just, this is what they are. So we're doing this every single day, every piece of information that comes through our head. And I want you to recognize the fact that you can't change that you're doing this, nor can you change someone else doing this. But you can become more aware of it. Okay, I call this come touch my side of the elephant. Hashtag come touch my side of the elephant. It's out there. So I want you to pretend you've never seen an elephant before, okay? And I'm going to have 3 blind men explain an elephant to you over the telephone. One is standing at the tail of the elephant, and he calls you and he says, okay, I'm at this elephant thing. I'm touching it. It feels like a rope. And you say, rope? I know what a rope is. I must now know what an elephant is. Thank you very much, sir. Have a good day. Blind man number 2 is at the opposite side. He's at the tusk, and he says, I don't know why this guy's leading you astray. This thing is hard. It's like a lead pipe. And you say, rope, lead pipe, 2 totally different things. Come on, guys, get it together, right? And then blind man number 3 is at the leg of the elephant. He's like, I have no idea what's happening here. I'm here. They're lying to you. This thing is big and round and rough. It feels like a tree trunk. And now you disgustedly hang up the phone. You're like, I don't know what's happening, right? How many of us have ever been there, right? You're like, come on, guys, get on the same page, right? So here's the problem with that. They're all right. Every single one of them is right, but it doesn't help you figure out what an elephant is because each one of them is giving it to you from their own perspective. So, and I'm sure we've all been in these situations, right? Where we're seeing things from all different ways. You're like, I know this is the truth. I'm staring at it. I know this is right. But what we forget is sometimes we have to take a step back and see the whole picture. So I think what helps with bridging this disconnect is having more hashtag come touch my side of the elephant moments, where we say, let's look at it together facing this direction. Okay, I see that. Now let's go this way together and look at it. Oh, see, I never would have seen that before. Okay, so every single one of us can be looking out a different window right now and having different views. That's just the way life is. But we have to learn how to understand that and appreciate them all. The third one is choice. Choice is something we do every single day, even when we don't know we're doing it, right? You all chose what you're wearing right now. You chose you chose what you ate, what you didn't eat this morning. You chose what chair you're sitting in right now. All of it. Inconsequential, we don't care. And then we make these big life choices, right? Like if I go down this path, my life changes forever. If I go to this way, it changes forever. I want to talk about the ones in between, the ones that we don't think are really that big of a deal, but they are. If you've ever had a bad day, which I'm sure if we were all sitting here on camera, if I asked you how many of you have ever had a bad day, I'd see every hand go up. That's like being human, right? My question is always, what do we call that day usually? And 9 times out of 10, I hear the word Monday. Okay, and we get laughs and that's fun. But I have a Monday story for you that I think is really interesting. I was in the grocery store on a Monday at 11 a.m. And if you've ever been in a grocery store at a Monday at 11 a.m. pre-COVID, not much is going on, right? It's like a handful of people, really. Okay. So this one time I'm standing in line and this woman in front of me has this entire cart full of stuff, like overflowing. I have 2 items. So I'm waiting patiently. She puts her last couple things up onto the belt and she proceeds by accident to dump her purse all over the floor. And I remember I didn't say this, but this was my first thought was, lady, you need to clean out your purse because this is about to take us a half hour to pick up, right? So I kneel down and we are face to face and I'm helping her pick up stuff. I'm like, here's this. I have no idea what this is. This is rolling into the next lane here. And she looks up at me right here, right in front of my face. And she went, ugh, it's Monday. I replied, yep, it is. As a matter of fact, yesterday was Sunday. And I know you're not going to believe this, lady, but tomorrow is about to be Tuesday. And I took a step back because I was no idea I didn't know what was going to happen. So she looks up at me and she just went, ugh. So now we're picking up her stuff in silence. Here you go. Here's this. And she turns to walk away. And I thought, oh, thank you. I got away with that one. And then she stops. And she turns around really slowly. It was like this. It was like the Matrix. And I'm sitting there like, what's about to happen, right? And I finally catch a glimpse of her face. And she starts to smile. And she lets out a laugh. And she looked at me and she said, you know what? Thank you for that. And I simply said this, if you catch nothing else, if everything else today was in and out and muted and frozen and all of that, if you catch nothing else, take this with you. I said this to her. Bad moments, not bad days. That's a choice, my friends. Bad moments, not bad days. Because what do we do with these self-proclaimed bad days? We spilled our coffee all over our favorite shirt. We tripped over the dog. We ripped our pants. We dropped our phone in the toilet, which thankfully they're making waterproof phones these days. And we haven't even left the house yet, right? And so then we arrive where we're going, or, you know, we're talking to people and we're like, oh, just don't even. It's one of those days. Really? Is it though? Is it? Because that's all just stuff that was frustrating. And they're minutes. They're just moments. So why sabotage the entire day to have a few bad moments? What about the whole rest of them that were actually okay? We forget that sometimes. So I invite you to practice the bad moments, not bad days theory. It works. It works. So I don't know if you've ever seen this picture, but this picture was circulating the internet a while back. And this is one of the greatest pictures I've ever seen. If you notice, all of the people in the background there, they're taking a picture of now to save for later, right? This is what we do. This was a movie release. So there were some Hollywood stars walking down the street. I did my research on this, and that's what it was. And so people were like, you know, just trying to catch a glimpse of who it was. The guy in the middle is my all-time favorite. He can't find the camera on his phone. He missed the whole thing, right? I mean, it's great. But the woman next to him, let her serve as our reminder to just take it all in sometimes, to put away the phone and the technology and to sit with people one-on-one, face-to-face, eye-to-eye, and reconnect. And I know we can't do a ton of that right now, but at least we can do this. You can see me. I can't see you. I would love to see you, but you can see me. And so this whole idea of reconnecting in ways that, you know, sometimes we don't think about doing it. We send a text and move on. Maybe a phone call to hear a voice. We need to humanize our connection again. She serves as my reminder all the time. Put down your stuff, walk away, take it all in. Enjoy what's around you. It's so important. We're going to talk about courage, because courage is a big one, right? Courage is a big one. Courage is one of the things right now that I think is one of the most important things we can talk about. Courage is internal. It is how we show up every day. And when I'm showing up as my best self, I'm bringing all of me. I'm showing up as myself authentically. So courage comes from the Latin cor, which means heart. And if you've ever seen Brene Brown's TED Talk, well, let me put it this way. If you've never seen Brene Brown, her TED Talk called The Power of Vulnerability, I highly recommend it. Go watch it. Not now, wait. Watch it after. But she talks about courage, and I love this. She said that the best definition of courage is to share your whole story with your whole heart and not be afraid to do so. I love that. Why? Because what does that mean? It means being authentic, right? It means being genuine. Today, more than ever, we need more authentic people. We need to surround ourselves with the people who are real and true and genuine. And you know, the second you make contact with them, that they are those people. You know how it is when you walk into a room and somebody is standing there and they're, people are around them. It's an energy thing, right? Everybody wants to be around those people. I always tell people, look, don't look for those people, be those people, right? Be those people. You attract that which you are. Be genuine, be real, be authentic. People know when you're not. And so where in your life are you living less authentically than you could be? Where are you not showing up as your whole self and giving your whole heart? There's a word that reminds me of this every day, and the word is sawubona. And sawubona is a Zulu greeting, which means I see you. Now think about the magnitude of this. Being able to say to someone, I see you. And the answer is sikona, which means because you see me, I exist. That's powerful. Because you see me, therefore I am. You see me, I'm here. I see you. It's basically our ability to connect in that moment and to share that mutual time together. We don't get a lot of that. So when we do that, it's powerful. The reason why this is so important is because right now, and this is even pre-COVID, I did some studying on loneliness. And loneliness is being researched right now as an epidemic around the globe by psychologists. And I want to take a minute to talk about loneliness because this is huge, okay? And this is how we can fix it. So loneliness is seen right now as a greater risk factor to our health than obesity. Let these words sink in. It's the equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's found in the same part of your brain. It lights up in study in the same part of your brain where you feel physical pain. Okay, you see loneliness and you see exclusion, what those feelings are. Okay, and it's not better if you're married. Over 50% of those who were surveyed who report chronic loneliness were married. Okay, it's not about having someone next to you. It's about what's going on inside. Here's the other thing, and this is what, my friends, we need to pay attention to. You ready for this statistic? Because this one blew my mind. The number right now, the age group that is the highest to report chronic loneliness right now is 16 to 24-year-olds. And that number is on the rise. We have work to do. We have work to do. So I want you to think about this. All of these things. This was pre-COVID. I did my last TEDx talk in November, and I talked about this topic. Think about this. This was last year, the end of last year. Who knew what was going to happen this year? And here we are in a space where we've been asked to isolate even more. We've been asked to social distance. We've been asked to do that, to take care of each other. Think about what this is, right? These numbers are only going up. So we need to find ways, even in our distance, in needing to keep each other physically safe, we need to find ways to be able to reconnect at the same time. Okay, this is huge. And so I put in here's my solution: connection, community, and compassion. This is what I talked about in my TEDx talk. I believe strongly that if we can work really hard to talk more about belonging and how we can create these cultures, we can eradicate this idea of loneliness right now. So what does that look like? Belonging, well, it's not surprising that it's right in the center of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Love and belonging, right? Not surprising at all. It's a basic human need. Okay, so how do I try to bring this to the table every day when I'm showing up as my best self? This is what I'm doing. I call it the light principle. Love, integrity, gratitude, honor, and truth. When I'm showing up this way, I am showing up as my best self, and I am showing up in ways that can connect to others, include and help people feel like they belong, and be authentic doing so. Not that hard, but I've seen such a difference when I focus on this. This is where we need to be right now. This importance of being authentic through this and to cultivate these structures and these spaces where people feel like they belong. It's everything. So the last C, like I said, I wanted to leave a few minutes for some questions or comments, but I'm going to run through this real fast. The last C is the word confidence. And I studied confidence when I was studying my sports psychology work with a psychologist from Florida. And we found some really amazing stuff. We studied this for about a year, really in depth. And this is what kind of came out of that, is this structure of how we build confidence. And when we start with the I can't, right? It's the 67 push-ups. It's I can't do that. Our only job isn't to just change from I can't, all right, now I'm going to tell myself I can, right? Because that's inauthentic. If we don't think we can, then we can't just convince ourselves. But the idea is that every day you change the words you say about the thing. Psychologically, the words we say allow us to do what we do, right? So if we say I can't, your body's like, right, can't. I'm going to sit back, right? Not doing that. But when we start to believe that we can, our mind-body connection leads us to go do the thing. That's how it works, right? Pretty simple. So changing the words you say about the thing, going from I can't to I don't think I can to I might be able to, and we start to open the door of possibility. All of a sudden you get to I will, and I will is the decision. I will, and you take action, and in the middle, we call that figure it out. I'm going to share with you exactly what this looks like. In closing, I'm going to give you my story of what this looks like. So when I was young, when I was 13, I was the tallest girl in my class. Okay, I'm 5'11", pretty tall. But when I was younger, I was almost this height at the age of 13. I think I was 5'8", 5'9". Tallest girl in my class growing up. And I hated everything about it. I just didn't want to stand out, to be truthful. I didn't want to stand out. I did not want to be that one that, was way up here when everyone was down here. My class pictures, remember those, when you're all grouped together in your class, it looked like this. There was me. I was like the mountaintop or the heartbeat. Here was the interesting thing. And I'm sure you remember, because we've all done these, in the 8th grade yearbook, it was those superlatives, best this, most likely to do this. I was chosen most athletic for the girls. And the boy who happened to be chosen most athletic boy, good old Josh Lipton, happened to be the shortest kid in the whole school. So comes time for the 8th grade yearbook. They line us up in the cafeteria. Everybody's watching, and they decided that it would be a fantastic idea to put Josh on a chair. I can't make this up. People used to ask me, is this a true story? Well, there it is. There's my 8th grade yearbook, my friends. Notice my lean. My knee's bent, I'm leaning on the chair, and he's just barely taller than me with my lean on a chair, okay? I'm not sure, honestly, who was more mortified, me or him, and the running joke is, because he's still short today, he's still my friend, that I'm going to, next time I'm in New York City, because that's where he lives, we're going to reenact this photo so that I can have them side by side. We have to do that yet. This is my reminder, though, of that 13-year-old kid who didn't want to look the world in the eyes because that means I'd have to pick up my head, right? I just didn't want to stand out. And if you would have been telling her then that I'd be doing this for a living, sometimes on stages in front of thousands of people, I would have told you lost your mind. There's no way. I would have said, I can't do that. I'm not doing that. No way. I don't want to stand out. Fast forward then, I had always wanted to write a book. I wanted to write a book since I was 7. I was going to be the next Barbara Walters. Do you see it? Please say no, I'm not that old, okay? I'm not Barbara Walters, but that was like, I wanted to be her. I have no idea why. I just did. And I wanted to write a book. And my whole adult life, I kept telling myself, you can't write a book. Who are you to write a book? You don't know how to publish a book. You can't write a book. And that was my self-talk. I can't. And guess what? I bought that story. I decided, you're right, I can't write a book. See, here's what I want you to really understand. We write our own stories every single day. Every day you write your story and you live it out. And on some random Saturday morning, you look back and you wonder how you got there. We all do. So I had wanted to write this book for some time. And I finally, in October of 2012, sat down and I looked up, how do you publish a book? And I started writing the book. 3 short months later, the book was on Amazon. It was done. Why? Because I said I will, and I took action. That's it. In the middle, figure it out. How do I write a book on Google, right? Okay. So understand that when we make the decision, that's the hardest part. It's not the action. The action actually was pretty simple. I made the decision. Figure out what are those decisions right now that you need to make. What are they for you? Because when you make the decision, the taking action part comes pretty easily. So the last one for me, I'm not sure how many of you here hate to run, but I hate to run. And I was an athlete growing up, but all the sports I played were like quick bursts of speed, and then that was it. No distance running here. My friends would call me as an adult. They'd be like, Jen, we're going on a run. Do you want to come? I'm like, no, who does that? For fun. Take the car. It's easier. Can I pick you up somewhere? Is something wrong? I know I've said all of that. I actually have said, if I'm running, you better run too, because something bad's about to happen. I hated to run. And on my list of 127 things to do before I die, I said, number 73 said run a 5K. And I'm like, why did I put this on here? This is so stupid. So I signed up for a 5K in Princeton, New Jersey to raise money for Parkinson's because my dad happens to be battling Parkinson's. Here's something I learned early on. I did it for something that mattered because I knew I would do it. See, when the why is strong enough, the how takes care of itself. So I signed up for this race. I signed up 3 of my closest friends, and they don't run either. And they're like, wrong friends. Why are we doing this? I said, and then I'm buying breakfast and mimosas are involved. And they're like, oh, we're in. You got to know your friends, right? So we show up, we're at the race line. I pin on the race bib. I look at them and I'm like, I can't do this. And they said, like, bleep, you can't do this. You just put us in a car at 5 a.m., drove us to Princeton. We're supposed to run with you. We don't run. We're here to support you. You're doing this. Right. So we did it. I had 2 goals that day. Finish it and don't die. And I'm happy to report here I am. The far cry from the world, the girl who didn't want to look the world in the eyes, right? So then I wondered, is this running thing a fluke? And I signed up for the same exact run exactly a year later. And as any good non-runner does, I did nothing in between and I owned it. But something came up and I couldn't run in that race when the time came. So I ended up thinking to myself, all right, what am I going to do? Because I said I wanted to do it again. So my doctor was telling me about a group that she organized to raise money for local families with cancer. And I said, okay, I can get behind that. And she said, show up, Wonder Woman, because that was my nickname, don't ask. I said, okay, I will. So I did. I showed up in a wig and a crown and a cape. I do not recommend ever running in a wig and a crown because you have to hold on to it the whole way. Not fun. Anyway, this is the day. I like to say that this is the day I rewrote my story. This is the day the runner in me was born. From that day, this is November of 2014 until today, I've run 93 races. 93 races with about 2.5 years off for 2 knee surgeries and a hand surgery. Here's why, and this is why I share this with you. I'm not willing to sit in front of a camera or stand in front of a group of people and say, you can rewrite your story, it's easy, if I'm not willing to do it myself. I also ran 4 times the 10 miles down Broad Street to raise money for the American Cancer Society. And I did it because I knew I could do it. I proved to myself when I first signed up, I'm like, I can't do this. And then I decided I'm doing this, right? And the first year I did it, I wore the cape with ribbons on the back of all the people I was running for. And people were like, oh, that's so cool. You carried those names down Broad Street. I said, no, make no mistake about it. They carried me. When the why is strong enough, the how doesn't matter. So I did that 4 times. I even ran the Philadelphia Half Marathon one time. I realized through all of this, we are so much stronger than we give ourselves credit for. So with that, I'm going to leave a couple minutes for questions. Here's my contact information. Feel free to reach out. I just put some info in the chat. Anyone have any questions? You can feel free to type them in. Anything that I can help you with before we go? Can you hear anything? You can hear me all right? Again, I want to say thank you. Again, if there's a question, looks like there's something in the Q&A. Oh, no, it just says froze. Okay. The book is available on barnesandnoble.com. You can certainly get it there. If you want to get it from me, like I said, I will sign them for you.